a strongman attitude. Like it took me 8 years to get to Shodan.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, you mustn't be very good. Or, hey guys, and welcome to Karate Over Coffee,
a podcast where we chat about everything and anything related to karate and kabuto. I'm Reese Cummings, and I'm here with my friend and colleague, Shane McMahon. Welcome back to part 2 of Life After Shodan. We were chatting before about syllabus and what it looks like up to black belt and then beyond black belt. So what do you do in your dojo, Shane, after black belt?
Yeah, so when you're looking from Shodan to Nidan to Sandan to Yondan and Godan and above, we have separate kobudo weapons as well. So from we don't have a separate kobudo class or program. It's just incorporated into our karate. So from Shodan to Nidan is Bo and Tonfa, and Nidan to Sandan is Bo and Tonfa and Sai, and then we go Kama and Nantaku in there as well. So we incorporate those into the later stages of black belt past Shodan. And we also have different kata available, and we've also been looking at separate kumigata or bunkai or oyo sets for our black belts and beyond. We started bringing them in around the 3rd Q mark, just some early ones for that specific kata that we're doing, and then the higher grade kata with the if there is such a thing, is different sets as well. So just some different things for our Shodan and above to concentrate on, as well as the theory I think we talked about earlier. So yeah, that's a couple of things that we've done within our separate black belt only class. So
yeah, okay.
And also when you have a separate black belt class or a separate advanced class, it gives something for the lower grade students to achieve. Like the white belts look up to the orange belts as, I want to become orange belts and stuff. So we have a separate advanced class, which is from 7th Q and above. And yes, that's not very advanced in the whole scheme of things, but it is a stepping stone for them to start aspiring kumite or kobudo. This gives them something a little bit more to drive towards. So yeah, once we made the black belt class exclusive only for black belts, then we started getting members who were black belt previously want to come back and do those classes. So
yeah, great. Because I think people have formed such a strong community with people, and maybe times do change and we can't train as much as we want anymore, but you'd like to maintain that connection, and there is probably this demand or feeling upon black belts, I must be there all the time and that kind of thing. And to a certain extent maybe that's true, but I think what you've said is important, because if you're focusing always on your beginner group, then what happens to this attrition rate at the higher ranks? Because there's more to learn. There is more to learn. There's more things to do. And I said the other day in one of my class, if everyone thinks you're doing it well, just know you can still do it better. There's always something else, and that could be either physically better or mentally better, or expanding upon it. Yeah. We do the same. We have a weekly class, which is our brown and black belts, and we've been doing that for quite a long time. But what we do is every month, so usually one of those brown black belt classes a month, it's for black belts only. So some of the brown belts come and they trained this week. Some of them turned up by mistake, and they get to get some extra training in with some higher kata and application. So that was fun. But I think it's nice because we as instructors have to continue to look at how we drive our students forward. Like I know I was saying before, I think we have to leave it up to them a little bit, but I don't think we can leave them alone.
Yeah, well, what I really want to do in this class is also have their own solo training. Similar to what happens in Okinawa, people sort of just turn up and do a bit of training of their own whether they hit the bags or hit the makiwara or do their own kobudo or their own training, or even helping out other, like maybe a yondan helping a shodan. That would be fantastic, and that's something I'd like to be able to do. It also gives the instructors, myself included, a chance to train as well. Because I think if you're teaching, you really need to be training yourself as well. And one thing that I really want to be able to do that you do is take a group overseas.
Yep.
To specifically, not to Egypt or Bali, but more to Okinawa or Japan. And to do training, and that's also something that you could exclusively keep just for Shodan and above.
Yep.
Wouldn't those green belts be jealous?
Yeah, that's right.
So how do you go with that? Organising.
Look, we sort of pre-COVID. The way I used to go to Okinawa was each year, either once or twice, and every second year I was happy to take an all grades group. But every other year the focus was actually just on me. And I'm after Shodan as well, so I guess if I talk about that, part of that, me going, well, I need focus on me. I need me time. I need to train and develop as well, and I need to take responsibility for that. So every second year I'd do that. However, now I'm to the point where I do have a few other advanced black belts in the class. I'm happy for them to generally accompany me on that trip, because I feel like, we can all train together and we can keep up. And so sort of, I guess there are certain trips that we might try and keep for the higher grades. I know some dojos do that. And I even know some dojos that want you to go there and have experienced that, or had some group training before you test for black belt or before you keep going.
And it also builds a community within your community group as well. Like if you're with an association, they get to meet people from other parts of the world.
Exactly.
With the Matsubayashi, you've got lots of different countries and organizations that would
And but I think that's important. Like, we've probably now had maybe 20 to 25 people go to Okinawa from our dojo over the time that we've been going. And it's interesting, we stand at the front of the class and, or like one of our podcasts where we spoke about the stories, and they do seem so foreign. And I think students can be like, really? Did that really happen? Oh, is that really how it goes? And actually, you take these people over and, it is a little bit of train, drink, eat, sleep, repeat. Not necessarily in that order. But when they come back, you've A, created a community in that group, and B, you've given more people an exploration of this other stuff that goes on. And I think it's fun. You form a bond, and it does help that life after Shodan, because it keeps, I think we all keep training a lot for the people, not necessarily the what, as well. So I think that's important. Do you find like, I'm pretty casual in all of my classes, like, we're not very militaristic, and I think you're the same. But in our brown black belt class, like, we warm up informally. For example, they all lead kata themselves. They do it in like a mutual warm up, and then we sort of, to a certain extent, take out a little bit of the fluff. Like, I know good teaching pedagogy says feedback sandwich: provide praise, provide correct, provide praise. And that's good. But what I really like about that Life After Shodan class, that black belt class and beyond, is maybe you can take away some of that fluff and you can just train hard and have fun doing it. Is that what you're finding?
Yeah, totally, mate. Totally. Yeah. There's there's no pandering, to try and. I'm not saying that we pander to the lower grades, but there's, you don't have to worry about. They already know you. They've known you for 5, 10, 20 years. So, there's no need to put on a big show or, be as funny, which is really hard for me because I'm hilarious.
Yeah, but you know, they've probably all figured out they don't have to laugh at our jokes by now. So
yeah, they don't laugh in that class, mate. Because they've heard all those jokes 50 times. You know,
yeah.
like one of my favorites is, "You mean kung fu'd?" Or "What's front kick?" And then somebody will say, "My Gary." "Oh, don't be so selfish. It's our Gary, not my Gary." Like those jokes. My dad was using those. So yeah, but yeah, certainly it's a lot more relaxed, and more like you would expect in Okinawa. You know, like
I think
the warm up. We just it's 5-10 minutes. Do your own warm up.
Yeah.
Some of the people, their warm up might be a quick jog, hitting the bags, doing a kata, or some like want to get back into the whole warm up like they would be if they were a green belt. So yeah. Another thing I would love to be able to do as well, if we get to a certain amount of numbers, would be a black belt camp. You know, you don't have to go away anywhere as such, but you know, a weekend seminar at the dojo, and also outside seminars, like the AFTK runs, for example. You know, going and mixing with other dojo and other styles of karate, if there is ever such a thing. But you know,
popping that stylistic bubble or that dojo bubble where you know what goes on in your own dojo or your own style, but actually explore outside.
Yeah, totally. And if you find a good club that you're friendly with, then you can do some mutual training. But you got to find the right sensei.
That's right.
Yeah, who has the same philosophy as you. So, but yeah, that way the black belts get a little bit more outside view, and then that might spark a bit of interest in researching their own, their own karate, finding out more, and
Look, we last year decided, so we have our karate gashuku each year, and it's sort of a 2.5-day event. We thought about doing it at camp and that kind of thing, but here in Canberra, it's you got to go do it in the right part of the year. It's freezing, and
about 2 weeks of the year, was it? 2 weeks of the year of sunshine.
Yeah, that's right.
Over Christmas,
it just adds like a large expense to it, and then that makes it not very accessible. But what we decided to do, as we've grown as a dojo last year, so we have this leadership team, and I guess that's another option after black belt, right? Taking part of that leadership. But we have this leadership team, and we decided that we would have a brown and black belt only training session. So it's about a day and a half. And we did it last year, where we primarily focus on the brown and black belt skills, but then also on expanding upon them where we might not get it in the normal class or curriculum. So that's been quite fun.
Yeah, the exclusivity is such a powerful tool, and you know that way, you using a brown and black belt or a black belt or an advanced gives you everybody else an idea. Oh, geez, that's something that I'd like to do. And if they see the higher grades, 3rd, 4th, 5th. For Australia, they're higher grades, but when you're looking at Japan, Okinawa, their high grades are 7, 8, 9. And they're not all teaching.
No, that's right.
They're training. They've been doing karate for 50 years and still just training.
That's really interesting too, because we were having a conversation the other day. One of my students and I was saying, Okinawa, I'm a 4th dan. Who'd want to learn from a 4th dan? Everyone else, and so many people that are 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th have actually never even made an attempt to teach. Sure, they might be a senpai in the senpai-kohai relationship, but they're not teachers because their sensei is an 8th, 9th, or 10th dan, and there are 3 or 4 other 8th, 9th, or 10th dans. So they just want to turn up and train.
And
that's good, but that's different. Different to here.
Well, I would say most Western countries, there's not many 6th, 7th, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th who are just training. Rather than, 4th to 8th dan, for example, they'd be running their own school, running their own brand, running their own dojo. I mean, like we do have a 4th and a 5th dan that train with us, but one is 74 and the other one is 60, must be 68, 69. Both have taught karate for us before, but now They just want to train.
Yeah.
But they would be the exception to the rule.
That you said this earlier though, and it made me think, because I had a little bit of a thinking about this too. So in my dojo, we have a saying which is group training, individual journey. And my idea is that I'd like karate to be accessible to anyone that wants to do it, as long as they're dedicated to doing it. And age is probably something to consider, because it could well just be, it could be age, and it could just be injury as well. They often go in parallel.
Huge, yeah.
But as you get to black belt too, age generally goes up. And as you go through the black belt grades, maybe when you did your Shodan or your Nidan, it was okay and that was fine. But then, you know, you start to go up through the age. And is it fair that as that age goes up, or your lifestyle changes, or perhaps you just don't want to hit the floor the same way you used to hit the floor?
Yeah.
Do you then say, okay, well, you can't grade? Because in my original dojo, it was a green room in a film studio. The guy who ran it said he used to do a different style of karate, and he had an injury to his hand where he couldn't form it quite in the same way. And he was basically told, well, you can't grade, because if you can't bend your hand like that, as per the technical requirements, then you don't meet them. Like, you know, so
crazy.
Yeah, so I think you have to take into account that personal journey, and then maybe go, well, what is important, what isn't important, and if they can't do it, what else can we supplement it? And that's what I've thought about a little bit recently, and I think
definitely. I had a guy come up from he was maybe a Shodan, I think, from a different dojo, and he was saying that he could never grade to Nidan, or was it Sandan, something like that, because in his dojo, his Ruha lineage club, you had to be able to kick head height to be able to grade. And he said, unless I can do that, and he's 55, 60, there's no way that he could do it. I said, well, does it have to be your head height, or could you take somebody down and kick?
Yeah.
And that sort of thing, that will drive him out of karate. You know, he will go, well, if I can't get there, what's the point? And he'll quit karate and think all karate is like that. And that it's got to be a personalized journey. The same as if we get going from Sandan to Yondan, for example, like I will give you a personalized theory topic.
Yes.
Personalized theory topic for you to learn, and it should be a specialized, personalized syllabus. You know, you can't expect everybody to be the same, and karate isn't and shouldn't be like that. I think when karate went from Okinawa to Japan and became a militaristic, follow everybody cookie cutter approach, I think that killed a lot of the individuality in karate.
Well, and that's interesting as well, because so in my karate style, it is a little bit more linear. You learn things in a certain order. But in the kobudo style I do, what I really, really like about it is there are some base weapons, some foundational weapons, and there are a range of them. But beyond those base weapons, those foundational weapons, you can actually sort of choose your elective weapons, and you can, if you like the nunchaku, or if you like the tunfa, or if you like the kama, then you can work with those ones on your journey towards black belt and then beyond. And I think that customization is probably more fit to what it used to be. If you're short, then you like to do this. If you're tall or big or strong or fast, then you do that.
It sounds like me. I'm all of those things, mate.
And one of my instructors in Australia said to me, and he said it to the classes that are here and elsewhere, that perhaps sometimes the way that people approach it is that we want robots doing karate, and everyone needs to look the same. But actually, that's not really possible, and we need to understand that people are different, and work to those differences.
And that sort of robotic approach, it is a Japanese culture, not not a karate culture, which we spoke about earlier. But yeah, I think certainly after Shodan, maybe up to Shodan, everybody should be doing something similar.
Yeah.
There is still personalized, especially for the older generation whose hip movements aren't the same as a supple 20-year-old. There's got to be some leeway, but I think the syllabus should be the same for everybody. And then after Shodan, it should be personalized.
Yes.
As much as it can be. So yeah.
I know. I agree. I think that what we want to be doing after that Shodan, if we're talking about what we said, you want to be forming that community, and perhaps that teaching is a way that a lot of people go, especially in Australia, like you were saying. Otherwise, it's there's so much culture and history and things to research as well. And then getting out and about and training, like how much access do we now have to things?
Oh man,
the unfortunate event of COVID, but I was looking. There's like 7 seminars over the next 3 weeks that I'd like to try and attend and watch.
Totally.
But
the problem with a lot of them is it's either 2 o'clock in the morning. Or it's 7 o'clock at night when I'm training or teaching. You're like,
or 8 or 10 p.m. on a Sunday tends to be the common one for me. Saturday,
other areas of the world. Yeah, totally. And I think it's only going to get better. It's only or worse, depending which way you look at it. But it's what's available now: YouTube, Bujin TV, which is. And just the availability on Facebook event groups, and so much stuff out there now. So much stuff out there.
So I guess if the answer to Life After Shodan, the answer is everything still.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, but yeah, look, I think it's going to be Life After Shodan for us is a lot clearer than it was maybe 5 or 10 years ago. Once we sort of settled on what we're going to be teaching and stuff like that, I think it's there's another thing actually I wanted to talk about also is, are we too strict on Life After Shodan from Nidan to Sandan? A lot of people hold people back from grading. There's a a strongman attitude. Like, it took me 8 years to get to Shodan.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, you mustn't be very good. Or, gee, your instructor needs a bit of a slap around. And so you've been practicing the same techniques for 8 years rather than, developing more and more and more. So I think in the West, the reason that we don't have that many people who are training at 4th, 5th, 6th Dan is we hold them back. We're too slow to grade people compared to Okinawa and Japan, where it's 2nd level, 3rd level, 4th level, not Xi'an, all these different sort of titles that the West sort of look at like, oh, he's a master. Or so I think in the the Butokukai, they look at a very fast grading system between first to second to third, compared to probably what most Western dojo have, in their association.
Yeah, I do think a lot of people wear the badge of honor on how long they've spent at that grade, and I think that can certainly be a good thing, but it does raise the question, like you said, well, and like we discussed before, how many hours have you been putting in? Because if you've only been putting in 2 hours a week for 8 years, I'm not surprised. That would be fairly regular. But if you've been putting in, let's say, 3 hours a day for 4 days a week, then I would be going, well, as an instructor, what am I not doing to get this person to where they need to be?
Yeah. There's also the fear of what other people will think of you too, especially as an instructor. And if you take that mindset, that approach, which I'm certainly guilty of it too, then really, I should be 6 dan, but I can't be 6 dan until I'm 40, because otherwise people will think, oh, well, somebody's just given him a grade and he hasn't earned it. Whereas in reality, I'm at the dojo 30 hours a week. You know, my life revolves around karate. It's not like I'm turning up for 2 hours a week. And so yeah, but I mean, is there a correct answer? Is there a right answer? I don't know. But anyway, I think we do have a life after Shodan answer for people.
Yeah. It's like what's that? Life equals 42 or whatever it is.
I'm 40.
Same thing.
40, not 42. Yeah, I'm still in my 30s, Reece. Still in my 30s, mate. And I'm clinging to it.
Yeah. Some magic formula that gives you what you need to know, and I don't think that's there. But
yeah. The answer to the universe is 42. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What was it? The Hitchhiker's.
Yeah, Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah. So guys, the answer is 42. Life after Shodan, 42.
Yeah.
Done.
Skip to the end of the video and you've already got it there.
This will be highly edited. It'll be 1 minute of podcast.
Yeah, that's right. I'll tell everyone the answer, and we won't get no one will watch the first part.
Yeah. And do you have a Shodan exam?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Same. Yep. So we could have just the one answer, one question. One answer.
Exactly. Easy.
And the prerequisite is to listen to this podcast. At least somebody's listening to it, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, I think that's sort of wrapped up Life After Shodan. If anybody is listening, 42.
Yeah. Right.
Now, if you haven't already, make sure you check us out on our YouTube as well, our YouTube channel. So if you just search Karate Over Coffee in YouTube, we're the only guys there. You might be the only person watching.
And you can see Shane while he still looks good in his 30s.
Yeah. I don't dye my hair. Anyway, all right, guys. We'll chat to you soon.
See you next time.